We talked about this on NFL Game Day Kickoff yesterday. The Davante Adams situation, other teams involved certainly think this is potentially going to come to a head today or tomorrow. What's the list? What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I would say coming to a head today or tomorrow makes sense. If only so, like if he's going to play for the Raiders, then I think he'll be healthy enough to play for the Raiders and will move forward that way. There's no need to move him if he's just going to play. If he's not going to play, and certainly trading him makes more sense now, then you'd like to do it sooner rather than later, because if he's off the team by Wednesday, then you don't have to pay $1 million in salary. All right. So doing it now, I think, makes sense for all parties. I would say the two teams to watch are the Jets, which is where Davante Adams wants to go, which is a team that has Aaron Rodgers, who I think it's fair to say could use his old friend in this offense that has looked better at times than it did on Sunday, and certainly has the cap space to absorb the contract and has the picks and maybe a player if that's necessary as well. Like, the Jets are, I think, a really good spot. That would make sense to do it now. They're back from London. Could use a little juice. And Rodgers has been recruiting him, obviously. So I think that would be one team to watch. The New Orleans Saints would be the other. They have been more aggressive when it comes to trying to trade for Davante Adams. I just don't know if that's going to be the place that he ends up going, but I do know they've made some really good efforts to make it happen.
So with a team like the Saints, Ian, and we know the Saints are always doing cap gymnastics to rework contracts and push money back and everything else, I haven't gotten the sense, and I know the Raiders have told some other teams we don't want to do what, let's say, the Broncos did 3 years ago and eat almost the entire salary to get a second or third round pick for Von Miller. The idea of a second round pick and potentially more for a guy who the new team would take on the entire salary seems like asking a lot for a player at this stage of the career with Davante Adams. What would a trade if it's New Orleans or if it's, let's say, a Buffalo, another team that would need the Raiders to make some type of concessions from a financial standpoint? What does that trade even look like?
I would say you do need to make some financial concessions. You can make it work, though. I mean, I think with the Saints could do it, right? I mean, they could for sure make it happen. I think they would need some assistance from Davante Adams as well. And I think to actually absorb the contract first, which, you have to have the space first. You can't trade for him without the space and then redo the deal. So you have to have the space first. The Saints could make it happen. They always make it happen. Kyrie does a great job. It would just be complicated. I don't know that it would be the Raiders having to pay, which to my understanding, they have not been inclined to do so. I don't think that's something that Mark Davis has ever done, if I remember correctly, and I don't think it's something that he wants to do. But yes, you would have to do some salary cap gymnastics in both places to make this happen. The Bills would be, I think, another place that would make sense. I don't know that they'd be considered a front runner, but they'd be another team that could probably use some more catches from wide receivers, especially a very good one like Davante Adams. And, these are reasons why the Jets make the most sense, because they could take him on. They could do it. Now, basically, it's a 1-year deal, right? Like, I know the other 2 years exist, but they don't really exist, because if they couldn't come up with a deal, then you're just going to release him or trade him, and then that team will work it out. Like, basically what the extra years at the back end of the contract give you is sort of like right of first refusal. It's basically like something to hold on to him to try to get a deal, to be the first team to get a deal done with him. So I view this more as a 1-year deal. I think every team can make it happen. It would just be easiest with the Jets.
Ultimately, yeah, Davante Adams is not going to see those numbers, which is over $36 million in 2025 and 2026. But what those effectively do is it gives the player the leverage here in terms of, listen, yeah, I'm going to be an unfettered free agent after the season because you're going to have to cut me or else do a new deal with me.
Well, it gives them leverage later, not now. Because let's say he did want to go to the Jets, which he does, but let's say he didn't, they could just trade him anyway, and he would have no say. You know what I mean? It would just be for the later years, you'd want to have some certainty.
If his deal's not being restructured in advance, where he could veto it would be, hey, we're going to trade you to, pick a name out of the hat. We're going to send you to Tampa. They're not trading for him, but we're going to send you there. But you have to re-sign, even if it's a matter of taking the signing bonus and then moving on. He can go, I'm not signing the paperwork, in which case he could effectively veto it. Right. Although at that point, the Raiders could go, well, we didn't want to trade you anyway, so now you're playing here. There's still some moving parts. Big couple of days on that front.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.